What do you think will happen next in the conflict between the North and the South? Raise your hand for a ticket.
Oh.
Sergio.
They'll fight, and then Abraham Lincoln will become president, and then the strongest person in the U.S. will die.
What did we learn about yesterday?
The beating cancer.
We learned about that yesterday.
I mean, we learned about
Who became president yesterday?
Abraham Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln became president yesterday. Did he?
No.
David?
No, he wasn't.
Who did he run against? Do you remember who he ran against?
Mr. Brownlee. Mr. Slaveholder.
Does anyone know who Lincoln ran against?
I know.
Emmanuel.
A guy.
Yeah.
Look at your assignment from yesterday. Look at the assignment from yesterday.
I know who it is.
So Sergio's hand first.
It's Breckinridge.
Breckinridge. Awesome. So, anyone else have any other ideas on what might happen next between the North and the South?
Nope.
Okay, so we're gonna see what happens with that today. Okay, so good things. What good things do you guys have? Raise your hand if you have a good thing. Emmanuel. Did you raise your hand? Okay, anyone have a good thing? Sam.
Again?
You said you're watching which movie again?
Evil Dead, right?
Evil Dead. I haven't. Like I said, I'm not a movie guy. Emmanuel.
I didn't fall off my bed.
You didn't fall off your bed today. Congratulations.
I'll be falling in bed tomorrow. Okay, Sam. I hope the movie gets canceled.
Emmanuel.
Don't say that.
Yeah.
Okay, any other good things?
You're gonna do the
Okay, so my good thing is it's Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. Hopefully you guys all have a great weekend
It's
as
actually
well.
Friday.
Friday, I love that. Okay, so hopefully you guys all have your folders. Can I get someone for a ticket to read off our objective? Sergio, go ahead and read it for us.
Students will be able to compare interpretations of federal and state authority in the North and South.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
we're seeing today, we're going to be unpacking what reason the South might be wanting to leave the entire nation, why they might want to leave the country. So, paper right on the back counter. So, okay, so a little recap. Yesterday we learned about Lincoln versus Breckinridge. Yesterday we learned about Lincoln versus Breckinridge. We learned that, hey, look. Leslie?
You sit there. You sit inside.
So we learned about Lincoln versus Breckinridge yesterday. We learned that, hey, look, Lincoln, he's running, he doesn't want. Remember, Lincoln does not want to end slavery.
What?
He doesn't run on this idea of like, hey, look, I want to end slavery. He ends on this idea of, I want to stop it from expanding. And we're going to see today that the South doesn't really care about what Lincoln has to say. If Lincoln wins, then the South is going to riot. So, vocabulary. Remember, we have 1 minute per vocabulary word. So, first vocabulary word up is secession.
No, that's what you get.
They call it there.
You're making a mess. Yes. I'm very sorry.
Okay, so secession is the first word up. So, we have 1 minute. Go ahead and begin.
Done.
So, again, secession is the act of becoming independent and no longer part of a country. So, we're going to see today that the North and the South might be splitting up, and the South might be what we call seceding from the Union. And we're going to learn about what the Union is next as well. So, they're seceding though from the United States. South is going to start splitting apart, and we're going to see that we're on the fast track towards the Civil War. We've had all this conflict building up for the past week. We've been learning about Missouri Compromise, Kansas-Nebraska Act, Bleeding Kansas. We had the Dred Scott case, the election of 1860. All of this is leading up to what we're learning today. So, next word up, the Union. So, the Union is the states that are members of the United States. So, when we are talking about the Union, we are talking about the states that remain in America. So, right now, in current day America, there are 50 states in what we call the Union. So, California is one of them, Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas. However, if tomorrow, let's say America or California, California goes out and secedes, they leave the Union, we'd only have 49 after that because it would no longer be part of the United States. So we're also going to see that with the South today, a lot of states in the South are going to be leaving the Union and starting their own country. Okay. Up next, Confederacy. So that country that they are going to form. So they break off, the South breaks off and they form their own country. The country that they form is the Confederacy, or the Confederate States of America as well. So, whenever I say Confederacy, I also might say Confederate States of America. I also might say the South. So those, all three of those words are synonyms. They all go together. So the Confederacy, though, is the southern states that broke away from the Union. So we're going to see that today, all this conflict that builds up, all this conflict over slavery, this idea of like, hey, look, can we actually keep expanding slavery, or is possibly they're going to end it altogether in the South? There's this conflict that's been building up for a while, and now finally the South is going to be like, hey, see you later, we're going to start our own country called the Confederacy. Okay, so the next thing up is uncover the picture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you 4 different pictures, or 4 different slides of all of them are going to be the same picture. However, each time I'm going to start uncovering part of the picture. So the picture will be covered up. After every slide, I'm going to start unveiling a different part of the picture. What I want you guys to do is every time I show you a new part of the picture, I want you guys to tell me what you think is going on in the picture. So a brief 1 sentence, like, hey, this is what's going on in the picture. And then when I unveil the next part, be like, hey, look, this is what's going on in the picture. And we're going to see that your opinion might be changing throughout this picture. So, for the first one up, I'm going to give you guys 30 seconds. I want you guys to tell me, what do you think is going on in this picture? So you guys have 30 seconds in section 1. So, you're in section 1, going to write down what you think is going on in this picture. So you guys have 30 seconds, go ahead and begin.
About 43 seconds.
Okay, awesome. Let's go to
Me.
Let's go to Annie R. Start us off. Annie R.
Yes.
What do you think's going on in this photo?
He's fighting.
Fighting
like a
someone?
little feet on the bottom.
Okay, so you think he's fighting someone? Let's go to Derek. What do you think's going on in this photo?
I think he's pulling something.
Pulling something?
He's playing
Yeah.
tug of war.
Playing tug of war, maybe something. Okay. So, next one up. Now, what do you think is going on? So in section 2, you're going to write what you now think is going on. So 30 seconds, going to begin.
I did it.
I really hope that's wrong.
Okay. So. Maybe later. So. Next up, we're gonna go to Sit Lolly. Sit Lolly. What do you think's going on in this photo?
It's not being pulled. It's the America map.
A map of America being pulled. Okay. Manuel.
I think the people are fighting for land in the U.S.
So people fighting over land in the U.S.
I don't know.
Okay. So next one up, section 3. What do you guys think is happening now? 30 seconds. Go ahead and begin.
No peace without
The window wraps. Okay. And then to finish this off, or before we finish off, I'm gonna go next to let's go Caitlin. Caitlin, what do you think is going on in this photo?
Trying to stop the US.
So he's separating. Who do you think he's separating?
Like two presidents who are like voting.
2 presidents. Okay.
Well, not
Who do you think that guy on the right is?
Barack Obama.
You have any idea who that guy on the right is?
Abraham Lincoln.
You think Breckenridge?
No.
Not quite, but good guess, good guess. And let's go with DeSale. DeSale, what do you think's happening in this photo?
Why is the window open?
Fighting over something. What are they fighting over? What is that in the middle that's getting torn?
America.
Map of what? Map of America. Yeah, map of America. So let's uncover the last part here. Now, what do you guys think? So in section 4, tell me, what do you think is going on here now? For 30 seconds, going to begin.
You could say no peace without authority.
Why does the bearded man look funny?
There's no peace without separation.
It's a separation.
Yeah. Take it to a different. Okay, Gabriel. What is this picture trying to show us now? We got it all the way unveiled. What is it trying to show us? 2 sides are fighting. Eventually, they're going to split. Who do you think those people are? So Breckenridge. Whoever I tell you Breckenridge kind of fades out. He fades out into existence, and this new guy is gonna pop up. This new guy's name, Jefferson Davis. So Jefferson Davis is gonna start popping up, and now he's gonna be the new villain. Let's go with Sam. Is there anything else you could add on what this picture is showing us? So we know they're fighting over land, but where is it getting torn at? Where's that map being torn at? Is it being torn down the middle, vertically down the middle, or where is it being torn at though?
It's 6:31.
Yeah.
Why does it make you look kind of
So, is that the 30? Did you say I heard 3630 line?
What?
So, it's being split.
Stretched out.
One second. Okay. So, next one up. What I'm going to do is, but I'm going to have you guys answer a very important question. So, you have a question right below your box. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to show you guys this video, and while watching this video, so before we go commercial there. While watching this video, what I want you guys to do though is be focusing on this question. The question is, after watching the video, what do you think was the last straw that made the South leave the Union? So what's the last thing? The last thing that's like puts the South over the edge and says, no, we're gonna leave the United States. So, quick commercial about DoorDash over here, and then we'll get to the video.
Some people look to the stars and ask, what if? Maybe you were born to be the answer. Maybe your purpose on this planet isn't on this planet.
Okay.
Why?
Again, you guys looking out for what was the last thing that made the South say, hey, look, we're gonna leave the United States, we're gonna leave the Union.
Very cut and dry. He stuck to his beliefs. November 6th, 1860, Election Day. The stakes couldn't be higher. Abraham Lincoln will be elected president of a country hurtling towards war. The South rebels, convinced he'll abolish slavery. They threaten to leave the Union. The battle lines are drawn. The North is behind him. For the South, Lincoln is the enemy. An editorial in an Atlanta paper.
Let the consequences be what they may. Whether the Potomac is crimsoned in human gore, and Pennsylvania Avenue is paved 10 fathoms with mangled bodies, the South will never submit to such humiliation and degradation as the inauguration of Abraham Lincoln.
The South knew that Lincoln was going to win, and it was just a matter of time, tick, 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 before secession occurred.
The South wants no part of the Union with Lincoln in the White House. But as he prepares to take office, the president-elect is still determined to avoid a civil war.
Lincoln was not happy about slavery. He did not see that as congruent to all men are created equal. He had given a speech before he ever became president on why that was so important to him. And I think that was coming to a head. And when he got elected, that was the final straw for the South.
December 20th, 1860, South Carolina secedes from the Union. The 10 other slave states soon follow. Lincoln's victory makes war inevitable. He's prepared to fight to preserve the Union. Won't have to wait long. In February 1861, a few weeks before his inauguration, the Confederate States of America are born.
Lincoln's principal objective was to save the Union, and then we'll deal with slavery. But before too long, he had to both save the Union and deal with slavery.
Abraham Lincoln receives his first...
So, can anyone answer that question? What was the last straw that made the South leave the Union? Sergio.
Abraham Lincoln becoming president.
Abraham Lincoln becoming president. How did Abraham Lincoln becoming president? Why would that make the South want to leave?
Because he didn't like slavery. But they like slavery. Why? Yeah.
So he didn't like slavery, but he liked slavery. Can someone maybe expand on that a little bit? Just because Abraham Lincoln doesn't like slavery, why would the South? I'm not gonna leave. I don't agree with what Joe Biden says. Doesn't mean I leave America.
Because they want their slaves taken.
Because they want their slaves taken away. Anyone want to expand on what Sergio said? Angel, go ahead and expand on what this idea of why the South wants to leave the Union.
What did he say before?
Repeat what you said, Sergio.
They don't get their slaves taken from them.
He doesn't want the reason why the South is leaving because Abraham Lincoln hates slavery and the South doesn't want their slaves taken away. Why else might they leave? Because did Abraham Lincoln say he was going to take away the South slaves?
No, it's because they can't expand on slavery.
Because they can't expand on slavery? Okay, so they can't expand slavery out anymore. Does Abraham Lincoln care? What does Abraham Lincoln care the most about?
Freedom.
Repeat that, Caitlin?
Not starting civil war.
Not starting a civil war, but what does he still want to do? Not take away slavery.
Like, abolish it.
What does he want to do with America? Want to make sure that happens.
Keep the union together.
Keep the Union together. He wants to make sure that the Union stays together. He wants to make sure that we don't go to war. Yeah, he doesn't want us to go to war. But at the same time, he wants to make sure America stays together as well. So, and then he also has to deal with the idea of stopping the expansion of slavery. So he doesn't necessarily want to end slavery, but the South, as we're going to learn today, the South really doesn't care. South, they're kind of their headset on this idea of, hey, look, this war is going to, it's going to happen no matter what. Okay, so next thing up, if I go back over here, okay. Okay, so our next thing up, states' rights versus federal authority. So, the South, the reason why they feel like they're like, hey, look, we want to leave the Union. We want to leave the United States and become our own country. And they say, we also have the right to do that. Can anyone tell me a document in the past where we've seen a country break off from another country? Not the Constitution, but close. Starts with a just three-letter word or three words. Declaration of Independence. So they look at the Declaration of Independence and they say, hey, look, you guys said, hey, look, we can leave Britain because of X, Y, Z. So guess what the Confederates are going to do? They're going to say, we can leave America because of X, Y, Z. We can leave America because, like, hey, look, you're taking away our freedoms without our representation. Remember this idea of no freedom without representation? So now the Confederates are using the same thing America used. They're now using it against America. And so with that comes states' rights. That's the big thing that they're arguing about. They say we should have the right to, states should have the right to rule how they want. They should not have the federal government telling them they shouldn't. However, the federal government, the United States, is using their federal authority to say, you can't do whatever you want. There are certain things like, yes, you can do certain things, but also the federal government has some power as well. So, before we jump into that, I want to first tell you, make sure you guys know what states' rights and federal authority are. So, on this slide, using this slide right here, I want you guys, on your guys' paper, you guys have a word bank with, I believe, like 8 to 10 words, something like that. I want you guys to place, using this slide right here, the words either go into states' rights or federal authority. So, I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes. What I want you guys to do is try your best at thinking, does this word belong to states' rights? Or does it maybe fall in this idea of the federal government and the federal authority? So, does the rights belong to the states? Or does it belong to the federal government, the federal authority? So I believe you guys have 8 to 10 words on there. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. If you think you got it wrong, still place it in there. We're going to go over them as well. So, 2 minutes, going to begin. Okay, use that box up on the screen. So again, you're using these words in here. These are things, like for instance, with states' rights, it says emphasize liberty, local leadership, and independence. Also says self-governance and ability to succeed, or ability to lead in America. And federal authority says U.S. wants nationhood and equality for everyone. Federal government over the states, and laws that everyone must follow. So, again, would these words belong to either states' rights or would they belong in federal authority? For example, if I have a school, would that belong to states' rights or federal authority? A school board. Okay, awesome. Okay. I'm going to go to, let's see how many words we got. We got 10 words exactly. I'm going to go 10 different people. I'm going to have you guys tell me if the word belongs to the states' rights or does it belong in federal authority. So, to start off with, Confederacy. Does that have to do with states' rights or federal authority, Marco?
Confederacy?
Yeah, Confederacy.
With the federal authority.
Federal government? So, do you think that the Confederacy, that new country they just formed, is going to focus more on having federal government or maybe more local and independent?
Yeah, I think so.
Hmm?
Can you say it again?
Do you think the Confederacy is going to focus more on having a strong federal government where everyone follows the same laws, or letting there be a little bit more independence for states to do what they want?
States.
So I think there's going to be a little bit more states and independence. So Confederacy, yeah. Confederacy actually is in states' rights. So Confederacy goes in states' rights. Go with Kevin next. Kevin, United States, would that fall in states' rights or federal authority?
Federal authority,
Why would it fall in federal authority?
because it's United States.
Because it's the United States. Do the United States give them the states a lot of power?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do they give them enough power according to the Confederacy?
No.
No, they don't give them enough power because that last part right there, laws that everyone must follow. The United States creates laws everyone must follow, and Confederacy didn't like that too much. So the United States would actually fall in federal authority. City Council, Natalia, would a city council fall with states' rights or federal authority? So, how about that second point for states' rights? Does that maybe apply to city council? Or the first point? Let's say the city council, the city of Fresno. What would it fall under? Why would... Take a guess. Yeah, 50-50 chance. Hmm? You said federal authority? Why it might fall under federal authority? You don't know? Can anyone help out Natalia on where city council might fall out and why? Yes, ma'am. Elijah, where's city council going to fall at? States' rights or federal authority? Why? Because it's a city. What kind of leadership is it?
People who live in the city.
What kind of leadership in the first part? Is that states' rights? Local leadership. Yep. So it would be states' rights because local leadership. City council is not. No one from the federal government tells the city council how they should and shouldn't run. States do, but federal government, nope. School board. Let's go with David. David. School board, what follows states' rights or federal authority?
Say federal authority, but not exactly sure why. I think that is
So, equality for everyone. You think school boards are gonna?
they also don't. They didn't have like blacks for that. It's like
So, look at that first point. The first point for states' rights. Would that fall underneath school board? Fall underneath that? Does the school board go across the whole entire nation, or does it stay kind of local? Remember, school board doesn't go outside of Fresno, correct? Like if we have the school board of Fresno, it doesn't go outside of Fresno. So that would probably fall in states' rights because of local leadership again. So school board would be states' rights, and then Congress. Kaylin, would Congress fall under federal authority or states' rights? Why would it fall underneath federal authority? Yep, federal government over states. Perfect. Edie, would the army fall under states' rights or would it fall underneath federal authority? Does the army care? What is the army trying to create or trying to keep? The army tries to keep us together as one nation, right? Protect our nation. So what would it fall under? Would it fall under states' rights or federal authority? If we're trying to keep the nation together. Federal authority. It would actually fall under federal authority because the army wants a nation. That's what they're trying to focus on. So the army actually wants to keep the nation together. So the army would be federal authority. On EB, local police department. Is that states' rights or federal authority? Would a local police department be states' rights or federal authority? States? Why would it be states? A local police department. Local police department. What is the first part? First one in states' rights say? Local leadership and independence. So which one would fall underneath? States' rights, yeah. So police department falls underneath states because the federal government can't tell police departments this is what you can and can't do. Freedom of religion. Freedom of religion. Does that fall underneath states' rights or federal authority, Garrett?
States' rights.
States' rights. So can states get rid of religion? Can I go out and start up my Catholic state?
No.
What if I were to tell you that before the Civil War, you would be correct? After the Civil War, you're wrong, though. So, before the Civil War, states, they actually had states out there that would form, like Maryland, for instance, was actually a Catholic state. They actually called themselves a Catholic state. However, after the Civil War, they're really going to start cracking down on that. And now, the federal government tells states you have to have freedom of religion, you can't do certain things. Supreme Court tells us that now. So, freedom of religion now falls under federal authority. Okay, and then Supreme Court. Ashley, does the Supreme Court, does that state rights or federal authority? I had federal authority. Everyone must follow the Supreme Court laws. And the fire department, St. Lolly finishes off. Fire department, local, states' rights or federal authority? States' rights, because why? That first point? Self-governance as well. That works as well. Local leadership or self-governance, both of them work. Okay, awesome. So,